Just want to let you lot know that if you're watching this clip on the Fozcast YouTube channel, the full episode is now available to watch exclusively on Spotify, and it's free. Come on.
Stoke, did you assume that the phone would ring maybe a bit more than it did?
I imagined I'd have more conversations with people because I was getting to the point where managers are getting younger. I think statistically in the Championship especially, first team coaches and managers are younger. I'd have expected to have a conversation and to see to pick my brains basically.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean, I'm not even talking finances like I said before, it's more about what they can give me as a football club, when they'd expect me to train, what they'd want me. Would they want me to play games? Would they want me to sort of help out on sort of the coaching side, the philosophies or whatever? But I suppose it takes a brave man. So if you look at my latter end of my career, Wayne was the one who gave me a chance at Derby, Wayne Rooney. And because the type of character he is, he wasn't bothered. He needed people.
Yeah.
It was all hands to the pump, especially at the situation with Derby. They're obviously going to admin and blah, blah, blah. And then I did well there and I showed I could still play. And then O'Neill took me at Stoke because he was struggling again, but he'd been an international manager, a little bit more old school, and he understood. We had a good conversation and a chat before I signed, and he was prepared to sort of not take a gamble. At the end of the day, he weren't paying me great money. He wasn't doing it for that, but obviously it was a gamble that I wasn't going to break down or I was going to be useful. Then I continued that, but when obviously the time came up at Stoke, I was a little bit surprised that my name must have been on the available list, and I'd have expected maybe a couple of conversations. Maybe those conversations wouldn't have gone how I wanted or how they wanted, but I was expecting it. But like I say, it's football. It's just they have a process, and maybe sometimes when you're as old as I was when I was playing, and you're similar age to the manager, they get concerned that you're after their job.
Really?
Yeah, they do. But I've got no coaching badges. I can't do it. And I think that helped me a little bit because I'm sure some of the managers would,
especially if you're a name.
Threatened.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. They feel threatened by it.
And they don't know me as a character, as a person. So all they know me as Jagielka.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
That's all they know me as. And they might think that I'm so hungry to get myself in there.
Foot in the door.
Exactly.
You'll stab them in the back.
Yeah,
and
well,
try and take their
which
place.
I wouldn't be the first person or the last person to do it, but that's not what I was about. My plan was I wanted to play games. I didn't want to just go and be involved in the I wanted, and my desire was to play week in, week out. I've had that desire since I was 18. Nothing's ever changed. I never wanted to be a squad player. Never happy sitting on a bench and picking up a wage or whatever. That wasn't me. And fortunately or unfortunately for me, my body didn't let me down. I was still able to get around the pitch. I wasn't picking up injuries, not anything major. Whereas I think if it had, it maybe would have been easier just to accept and go, well.
So how does it sit with you then that one game at Stoke City was finally your last game of football? Do you know what I mean? And nobody knows that's coming. And there's so many nice stories out there of these footballers who have fantastic careers and they say farewell with a month or 2 months or 3 months to go of the season. It's like, I'm going to retire.
Get
and it's
subbed
all
off
beautiful.
in the 80th minute of their final game.
Standing ovation and celebration. And then all of a sudden, you've played your last game and you don't know it's your last game.
Well, let's go back to Stoke, because obviously it was my last game. It was strange because we'd had letters and emails saying, look, everyone's going to find out the day after the season.
Letters and emails?
Yeah. Well,
how do you know what I mean? Surely
that's how they do it. Then you have to book an appointment and blah. So then you have to come in. It's different, obviously. For me, it's so unpersonal or whatever. But I understand it. It's the way you've got to tell. So everyone had an appointment. So it wasn't just the lads that were up for contract. It was the ones that were coming back for next year. They'd be given like a plan, off-season plan.
Yeah, sure.
Where you are in the plans for next season, whether you can look for a new club, whether you're going to be new captain, blah, blah, blah. That's what conversations happen. So we all got it and we were like, surely that can't happen. So there's even lads that were in the squad that had pretty much openly been told that they probably wouldn't be getting a deal. It was obvious. But they still had to come. Or so they've been fined. Or, do you know, like, it's just the way it worked. So obviously I'm speaking to my agent. I'm saying, look, I'm an experienced pro now. I was obviously still playing. I said, look, like, give me a little bit of a heads up, some sort of like wink, nod, or whatever, what's going on, and get my head around. I'm not going to throw one in. I'm not going to play.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
And if it's nice, I'd like to take the family down. We were playing Watford away, funny enough. But there was nothing. And you can sort of sense, but no one was being given much. So we played. Obviously, we lost. I've come in afterwards.
You played the game?
Played, come off, and it was just like wow. Like, I don't even know how to explain. I sat in the changing room afterwards, just like numb.
Yeah.
Sat next to Morgan Fox, like we're quite close friends. It was ended up being his last game for Stoke as well. Changed shirts, just as you do sometimes. We did, at the end of the season, and just got on the bus back to Stoke, and it was in the next day. Then you come in, and you can't really feel that positive. You come in, I went up in there, then obviously waited my turn. Next thing you know, went up the night. Neil told me it was a tough decision. Blah blah. They're going to go try and start afresh with pretty much everyone that was out of contract. I was like, okay. It was like there's nothing I could do or say about it. But then obviously I've drove home, and I wouldn't say it angered me, but I was like, a little bit of a piss take.
Yeah.
Like I've played as much as I can with you. I don't think he really wanted to play me anyway because he wanted to obviously change things himself. But he was left with obviously whatever happened, and then spoke to your mum and dad, your parents, whatever, and it's like, no, okay, I'll go away on holiday, kept myself fit, spoke to your agent, said, look, like, it sort of fuels a fire to want to keep doing them treadmill runs or whatever.
Something to aim for, isn't it? Yeah.
I think I'm sort of thinking, like, I'll find another club and come back and score here next season, World Show or whatever. But it didn't happen. And unfortunately for me, as happy and buzzing I am with my career, every single goodbye I've had has been pretty shambolic. From getting relegated at Sheffield.
Yeah.
I didn't know I was going to leave. Just left the pitch, and then obviously that was
the season, Tevez and Mascherano season, wasn't it?
And then there was all sorts of carnage over the summer where we didn't know if they were going to get points deductions, dual ownership and whatever. So then, what am I doing? Everton, which will still be probably the hardest one to take. Me and Bainesy's contracts were up at the end of the season, and there was rumours whether we were both going to get like an extra year or help.
How long have you been at Everton at this point?
This is my 12th season.
Wow.
Club captain.
Wow.
And there was rumours, like do some leadership groups, make sure we go forward. You might not play as much. I'm sure the wages would have been less. Blah blah blah.
But there was a conversation to be had.
Conversation, and they were quite open about it. And then it comes to the last game of the season, and me and Bainesy were both on the bench. And then I remember Marco turning around and putting me on. So I've whispered to Bainesy, I was like, "Oh, looks like I'm not staying then." Do you know, like? So then obviously Seamus gave me the armband. I came on. It was a nice reception and stuff, but none of my family were there for the day.
Yeah.
And
so you're saying he brought you on because he knew this was your... It was almost like he was giving you a farewell.
He covered his bases.
Yeah.
And then season finishes, it's fine. You go home and it's like you're having conversations, speaking to the chief exec and they're saying, look, they were trying to sign Kurt Zouma on a permanent transfer. Look, if we get him, we're probably not going to go along the lines of you. Never sign Kurt. There's a release list that I think it's like the 8th of June, where they have to publicly announce who's getting retained and whatnot. So I just got a phone call the day before. And you sort of know, in deep down your heart it's coming, but it's not nice. And that was my club and whatever. And I hadn't gone back to, I'd gone back to Goodison probably to play and whatever. I came on, which was nice for Sheffield. We won 2-0 like the next season. But I'd not been back to watch for a while. And I think it hurt. I understand the way football was, but for me, again, all it would have taken was a conversation.
It's a conversation. I don't even think that's a conversation between the manager and you. I think that's somebody that's higher up, that's been in that club, that has some real kind of investment. The only issue with
Everton is transitionally the lot was happening upstairs.
Yeah.
So Tim Howard had a nice send-off, Phil Neville, David Moyes. Like these people had some. I think Leon Osman had something similar.
Yeah.
And so did Tony Abbott, but. Not saying they had the ability. They both had testimonials, so at least they had a day.
Good chance to say goodbye.
Yeah, exactly. But and then it must be a common theme. So obviously, I went to Sheffield United. Then it was COVID. Then I went to Derby. Then I had to leave. I played a game. I didn't even know I had to leave, but my contract couldn't get renewed there. So then didn't say bye to Derby fans, and obviously with Stoke fans, I didn't know I was leaving. So basically, it was a pattern along the scene. So. That's probably one aspect of my career, other than not playing in a major final and not winning anything. The goodbyes were pretty rancid.
Thanks everybody for watching. We hope you enjoyed this clip of the Fozcast. If you would like to watch the full episode, it is now available exclusively on Spotify for free.